Hello everyone. Welcome to our Java to Spring Boot Real Project Development Series. अगर आपको सिर्फ थ्योरी देख देख के बोर हो चुके हो और एक्चुअल प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाना सीखना है, then this series is for you. In this series, we are going to build real world backend applications step by step. Just like in the industry, यहाँ पर आप सिर्फ कॉन्सेप्ट्स नहीं समझोगे बल्कि आप कंप्लीट प्रोजेक्ट डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस मास्टर करोगे, फ्रॉम सेटअप टू डेटाबेस कनेक्शन टू रियल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. If you already know Java and want to move into Spring Boot for jobs or internships, this series will give you that practical edge. So don't just watch, follow along, build with me, and by the end of this series, you will have real project to showcase in your portfolio. So in today's video, we are going to set up our first Spring Boot project from scratch. We will use Spring Initializer to create the project and we'll add required dependencies and then connect it to a MySQL database. End में हम application run करके output verify भी करेंगे. So by the end of this video, your complete project setup will be ready. Before starting, let's understand what we are going to build today. This is a simple architecture: client, Spring Boot and database. Client request send करेगा, Spring Boot उस request को process करेगा and then data MySQL database में store या fetch होगा. This flow is the foundation of almost every backend application. और आज हम इसी foundation को setup करने वाले हैं. So stay tuned. First, we will open the Spring Initializer website to generate our project. Spring Initializer is basically a tool that helps us quickly create a ready-made Spring Boot project structure. मतलब हमने मैन्युअली सब कॉन्फ़िगरेशन और सेटअप करने की जरूरत नहीं होती है. ये टूल ऑटोमेटिकली बेसिक प्रोजेक्ट सेटअप जनरेट कर देता है. नाउ लेट्स फिल द प्रोजेक्ट डिटेल्स स्टेप बाय स्टेप. सबसे पहले यहाँ आपको ऑप्शन मिलेगा प्रोजेक्ट टाइप. यूजुअली वी सिलेक्ट Maven प्रोजेक्ट because it helps us manage dependencies easily. Next is language. We will select Java. Spring Boot, Kotlin और Groovy भी सपोर्ट करता है, लेकिन Java मोस्ट कॉमनली यूज्ड है, स्पेशली बिगिनर्स के लिए. नाउ कम्स ग्रुप आईडी. ग्रुप आईडी बेसिकली आपके प्रोजेक्ट का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नेम या पैकेज होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल com.example या com.username. ये यूनिकली आइडेंटिफाई करता है कि प्रोजेक्ट किस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से बिलोंग करता है. नेक्स्ट इज आर्टिफैक्ट आईडी. आर्टिफैक्ट आईडी इज सिंपली योर प्रोजेक्ट नेम. ये वही नाम होता है जो आपके फाइनल एप्लीकेशन या जार फाइल का नाम बनेगा. देन वी हैव नेम एंड डिस्क्रिप्शन, जो ऑप्शनल होते हैं बट यूजफुल फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट पर्पस. नाउ लेट्स ऐड डिपेंडेंसीज. सो डिपेंडेंसीज मतलब एक्सटर्नल लाइब्रेरीज जो हमने एक्स्ट्रा फंक्शनैलिटी देती है. ओके, डिपेंडेंसीज हमको एक्स्ट्रा फंक्शनैलिटी प्रोवाइड करती है, तो वो हम एक्सटर्नल लाइब्रेरीज ऐड करते हैं. वी विल ऐड स्प्रिंग वेब. ये हमें रेस्ट एपीआईज बनाने के लिए हेल्प करता है. स्प्रिंग डेटा जेपीए, ये डेटाबेस ऑपरेशंस को इजी बनाता है, जैसे डेटा सेव, फेच, अपडेट करना. एंड MySQL कनेक्टर, ये हमारे एप्लीकेशन को MySQL डेटाबेस से कनेक्ट करता है. So with these dependencies, our project will be ready to handle web requests and interact with the database. Once the project is generated, download the zip file and extract it on your system. Now let's understand where we will open this project. We will use STS, Spring Tool Suite. STS is basically an IDE based on Eclipse, specially designed for Spring development. मतलब ये हमें स्प्रिंग बूट प्रोजेक्ट्स इजीली मैनेज करने, रन करने और डिबग करने में हेल्प करता है. नाउ लेट्स इंपोर्ट द प्रोजेक्ट स्टेप बाय स्टेप. ओपन STS, देन गो टू द फाइल and select import option. यहाँ पर आपको ऑप्शन सिलेक्ट करना है मेविन, एग्जिस्टिंग मेविन प्रोजेक्ट्स, क्योंकि जो प्रोजेक्ट हमने डाउनलोड किया है वो ऑलरेडी मेविन बेस्ड प्रोजेक्ट है. So click on next and now browse the folder where you extracted the project. जैसे ही आप फोल्डर सिलेक्ट करोगे STS ऑटोमेटिकली उस प्रोजेक्ट को डिटेक्ट कर देगा. Make sure the project is checked, then click on finish. अब STS प्रोजेक्ट को इंपोर्ट करेगा और ऑटोमेटिकली बिल्ड प्रोसेस स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. ये डिपेंडेंसीज डाउनलोड करेगा और प्रोजेक्ट को रेडी करेगा. इसमें थोड़ा टाइम लग सकता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर इंटरनेट स्पीड. Once the build is complete, you will see the full project structure on the left side in your project explorer. Now that we have created and imported our Spring Boot project into STS, let's understand the project structure. On the left side, you can see the complete project folder. This is how a standard Spring Boot project looks when we open it inside Spring Tool Suite. Let's expand the project and explore the important files one by one. First, we have the main folder. Inside this, you will see different sections like source folders, configuration files, and dependencies. Now, let's open one of the most important files, the pom.xml file. This file is very important because it manages all the dependencies of our project. In simple words, dependencies are external libraries that we use in our application. For example, Spring Boot itself, web support, database connectivity, all of these are added as a dependencies inside this file. As you can see here, multiple dependencies are already added. We don't need to write everything from scratch. Spring Boot provides it for us. Now let's move to the main class of our application. Here you can see the main Spring Boot class. This class contains the main method, which is the entry point of our application. Inside this, we use Spring application.run method. This method starts the entire Spring Boot application. So whenever we run this class, our Spring Boot project starts running. Now let's configure our application properties. Here we are using the application.properties file to define important settings for our Spring Boot project. Let's understand each properly one by one. First, Spring application name. Spring.application.name is equal to stock management app. This defines the name of our application. It is mainly used for identification, logging, and monitoring purposes. Next, server.port 8081. By default, Spring Boot runs on port 8080, but here we are changing it to 8081. So when we run the application, it will start on port 8081 instead of the default port. Now let's configure the database connection. First, spring.datasource.url. JDBC :MySQL :/localhost :3306/stock. This is the data source URL. What JDBC.MySQL defines, it specifies we are using MySQL database. JDBC :MySQL. This specifies we are using MySQL database. Localhost database is running on your local machine. 3306 default MySQL port. Stock is the name of the database. Next, spring.datasource.username equals to root, spring.datasource.password equals to root. These are the credentials used to connect to the database. Make sure this match your MySQL setup. Now moving to additional settings, spring.jpa.hibernate.ddl -auto. This is equal to update. This tells Hibernate to automatically update the database schema based on our Java entities. So If we create or modify classes, the database will be updated automatically. And finally, spring.jpa.showSQL is equal to true. This will display SQL queries in the console when the application runs. This is very useful for debugging and understanding what is happening in the background. So we configured application name, changed server port, connected our project to MySQL database,
quickly verify
and
all our
enable
files
automatic
once
database
again.
update and SQL login.
On the left side, you can see our complete project structure. First, make sure our main class is present. This is the class that contains the main method and start up our Spring Boot application. Next, check the pom.xml file, ensure all required dependencies are properly added and there are no errors. If everything is correct, the project should be built successfully. Now open the application.properties file. Here verify all configurations, application name, server port, database URL, username and password. Make sure everything is correct, especially the database details. Once everything looks good, we are ready to run the application. Now to run the project, right click on the main class, go to run as and click on Spring Boot app. Now observe the console carefully. The application will start loading. You will see multiple logs printed on the console. This is completely normal. Spring Boot is initializing the project, loading dependencies and setting up the server. After a few seconds, look for an important message in the console. You will see something like started application in second. This means your application has started successfully. Also notice the port number in the console. Since we configured port 8081, the application will run on http://localhost:/8081. If you don't see any errors, that means your setup is correct and your application is running perfectly. If there are any errors, carefully read the console logs. Most issues are related to database configuration or dependencies. So now we have successfully created the project, configured properties and run our Spring Boot application. And that's it for this video. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends who are learning Java or Spring Boot. Also make sure to subscribe to the channel for more simple and step-by-step programming tutorials. And I'll really love to hear your feedback. Let me know in the comments, was this explanation clear or do you have any doubts? You can also tell me what topic you want next. Your feedback helps me improve and create better content for you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.